guys, and welcome back to Project Z Garage. My name is Ansar, and today we're in the home stretch of getting the Audi up and running again. That does not mean that it's drive worthy yet, but definitely we can start the motor, warm it up, see if there's any leaks, and see how it sounds and all that good stuff. But before we get into that, I just want to thank everyone that subscribed, all the new subscribers, everyone that's new to the channel. Thank you. And if you're new to the channel and you like the content, the videos that we do, please subscribe. We're almost up to the 1,000 subscriber mark. We have a couple hundred more to go, and then what I want to do is do a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. So if you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Back to the car now. So what we have left to do before we can start the motor is and have it run is we're going to put the catch can back on, the intake back on. We already put the test pipe on, and I already connected up the O2 sensors, so we're looking good there. High pressure fuel pumps back on. This cam positioning sensor is back on. All of the boost solenoid and all that stuff's already been connected up, so I think we're looking good, in good shape. We put this intercooler hose back to the intake manifold back on. That looks good. In the future, we're definitely going to probably take this front bumper off. I feel like the intercooler is sitting a little cock-sided or crooked on this side, so we're going to try to address that and fix that up. Also, after doing all this work, I'm kind of wanting to take this bumper off and get it repainted, because I do have a new grill for it, which we'll do in another video on how to replace this grill. And I got this aftermarket, kind of like a RS4 style grill, because just from wear and tear living in New York, somebody backed into the car, you know, cracked the this grill, and you know what, you're kind of stuck when you gotta park this in the city, and it is a daily driver, so it's gonna get its wear and tear. So that's in another video. Right now, what I want to do is let's get the intake back on and just check the fluids again, get the catch can on, and I think we're ready to start this up. Alright guys, so we're putting the intake in now. This is all one piece, and it has two little feet that fits into this little groove here. We pushed those in already. We got the silicone hose from the turbo to the mass air sensor here, airflow sensor here. There is a connector on the back side. We'll plug that in. All right, that's clipped. If you guys want to see how we did this, originally put this intake in, I'll put a link on the top of this video right here, and you can go to that video after this one if you want to see us installing this. Alright guys, here's the ECS tuning catch can for this Audi A4 V7. Now be very careful, there's a very thin O-ring seal here. If you are moving it around too much, you're gonna break it, and then you're gonna have a vacuum leak there. Don't ask me how I know, but I've already broken one. I actually bought two. I bought an extra one just in case, because you're constantly, especially, you know, in the Northeast, you want to be checking this on a regular basis, because you don't want water to get in here or in the lines and freeze up when it's in the colder months. In the hotter months, you don't really have to check it as much, but I've had it where a decent amount, especially if you're driving hard, this can does fill up. So it's amazing to think how much of that is going back into your intake, and that's probably what's gumming up your valves. So the way this works, it sandwiches between this bracket that they supply for you, and all you got to do is slide the bottom piece and the top piece in. Be careful with this, you don't want to break that. I usually go underneath here. And of course, when you're trying to do it on video, it's 10 times harder. And you're just going to do a hand tight like that. Now, I actually marked this from the way we had it last time, just so I don't screw it up. Also put a little oil on these O-rings so that they don't bind up when you're tightening it. Now what I do, I throw a little bit of masking tape on this so you don't mar up the surface on these. Now I don't think I would go too tight on these, because, you know, it has an O-ring, so that should seal, and that looks pretty good. We're not going to go crazy tight. And the ECS provides you this little like dipstick, so you don't have to take the whole thing apart to see if there's fluid in there. And that pretty much does the ECS catch can. So pretty much the left side of it, when you're facing it, is going to be the top one, and it's going to run along here, and it's going to be the one that goes to the angle part, and the front of the in the front of the this plate that they provide for you, and the other one goes on the other side, and it goes, actually it's up, it's like a right angle. So to get it on, you usually have to put that on first, and then run it to the other side, and that's going to be on the right side. Now they also provide with you a kind of like a cable holder to separate these two so they don't rub on each other, and also to keep them together. Guys, so something I want to mention, when we were cranking it the first time, before we did anything, we did notice that the oil line here, if you can see it, that oil line right here, and the coolant line that's a little up to that corner right there, they had a leak, and they were dripping. Now these two connections use a brass crush washer, and after we took it out, that's why we lost some of the antifreeze also. Actually, I lost a good amount from because it's pretty much draining the block when you take that off. And we ended up going to the hardware store and picking up, we found whatever was pretty close to the original one, so we didn't have to wait on ordering it. and we replaced them and we tightened it up. I don't see a leak now, but we won't know until we start the motor and have it run, and then we'll definitely have to check on that specifically to make sure those aren't leaking at all. And now I believe that's what gives the feed to the turbo, the oil and the coolant to the turbo from the block. We also tightened up the intercooler hoses pretty well, so I think they're pretty good and ready to go. Our starter is all tightened up and installed. Okay, so yeah, so there's still some work to do to get the rest of the underneath buttoned up, but right now what I'm really want to do is start the car up, let the motor warm up, let's get it to operating temperature, and let's see if we can find any leaks, if we hear any weird noises, because the last thing we want to do is hear something bad and we have to pull the whole motor back out, and then we have to kind of disassemble all of this, which would be a waste. All right, guys, also just another reminder, always label your connections, because it made putting this back together so much easier. Honestly, I don't think we labeled enough, and some of the stuff we would have been a lot easier to put together if we labeled it better. So if you're going to be doing this, definitely label everything. Like, even if you think you're going to remember, just label it. It'll make your life so much easier putting everything back together. All right, guys, I think we're about ready to start this up and actually let it run for a while. We put the intake almost all the way in. We left off one part, which is the kind of like the ram scoop that comes here, but we want to leave that off so we can look at the turbo, look at all the parts over here, make sure there's no leaks when we start it up. So everyone cross your fingers. Let's hope we don't have any check engine lights and that there's no major noises in the motor, and that it starts up relatively easy. We've already cranked it, so there should be oil already circulated in the motor. I think we're good. We actually found some more antifreeze to fill back up to max, so that's good. The oil's at the right level, so now we just gotta cross our fingers, and I'll have my brother start it. Let's just put the take this off. We had it charging. We're gonna put the negative on. I think that's good. Everything clear? All right, whenever you're ready, Al, let's start it up.
Sounds like no exhaust.
Some oil residue burning off. It's a little quieter now. We're just gonna let it run for a while. I mean, I hear the injectors tapping a little bit. It sounds pretty quiet, not too bad. Everything's running pretty good. No squeals, no nothing. what I will do is after it gets warm, we're gonna retighten the header just to be sure. I think we're pretty good right now. We're just gonna let it idle for a while. Let's get it up to temperature. You know, try to burp the system, make sure fluid is, antifreeze is going through everything. Alright, so we're gonna let it warm up. Once it's warmed up, I'll get back to you. Alright guys, it's pretty much warmed up. The thermostat opened. Right now we went and got some more antifreeze from the dealership. We filled it back up. So now we're just letting it warm back up. The oil line is good, oil level is good. So right now, let's see, we'll look at the P3 gauge. As you can see, it just hit 200 on the actual temperature gauge. It's right at half, maybe a little over. So we're gonna keep burping the system, make sure we get all the air out of it. You do that from this little screw here. We unscrewed it. So as soon as we start seeing fluid start coming out of there, we know all the air is out. And then we'll just top all the liquids up. But right now everything's looking really good. Let's get under here. Al, you wanna hand me the light? As you can see under here, the stuff that was leaking before looks good. So we're good there. No leaks under here. Our gasket dried up really good. So we're looking really good right now. Alright guys, I think we're going to end the video here. Pretty much got the car running. The next step is to finish doing the drive shaft, the axles, like tightening everything up, make sure everything is on, go over all the bolts. Go over all the bolts, make sure everything is good, and then maybe do a short test drive to see if it's working, how it drives, all that stuff. So check it out in the next video. Thanks again for everyone that subscribed. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video, guys.